All right, welcome everyone. Merry getting closer to Christmas.
Woo!
How's it going, Carrie?
Good. In a Christmas panic, but
This is
good.
Todd's World, by the way. Wildly opinionated news hour. Did you know we were doing news, not beers right now, Carrie?
Yes.
We didn't talk about it. I just assumed you knew.
I assume that's been the order. That's the order we've been doing. I know. I'm like, wait, I
What
got the
podcast
Bible
are we
open.
doing?
I got my beer. No.
We are this is the Wildly Opinionated News Hour. Thanks for joining us today, guys. And mostly what's going on out there in the wide world is
hmm
UFOs and drones, right?
Mostly, yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
My dog, Lauren calls me up. I don't remember 2 days ago, I think.
hmm
She's like, "Holy cow, Dad! These drones are everywhere. They're crazy." I'm like, "I've been trying to tell you that for 3 weeks. Nobody's listening. All of a sudden, everybody knows about it. I
Isn't
guess
that
it
funny?
wasn't on the mainstream media or whatever. I don't know.
It was not.
I mean, I saw it everywhere on X, and that's where I get my news. So to me, this has been. I've been seeing this ramping up for a while. Hey, you got any drones down there? They hovering over your house?
Not that I know of.
Like jellyfish drones.
Not that I know. Oh, not that I know of. I don't know of
That's
anything
what I was
around
gonna do.
around
I
here.
was gonna get us the X
Yeah.
Files theme to
The
open with, but I
music.
forgot about it.
Ooh. That's great. That is
There
so
was a
great.
clip from, and this was I had for last week. We never got to it, but it was from one of those X Files movies that they did back in like 2000. Remember, they had like two X Files movies they did. So this
I
was
forgot about
after
that.
the first show.
Okay.
Then Dana Scully and Fox Mulder came back and they did like an X Files movie. Then they did another one. I can't remember what it was called. X Files something.
Were they any good?
They were pretty good,
Really?
but it was like they predicted everything going on perfectly, and it was like this 3 or 4 minute little like clip of the movie,
Oh my gosh.
and it was I don't even know if I can find it. It was so because like I said, it was last week, so it was a long time ago. And I throw here it is. Let's see how long this clip is. I don't even know how long it is. Da, da, da. But this is the original X Files movie. No, this was 2016 is when this was.
Oh,
You want to hear a little bit of it? Let's see if it's any good.
sure.
I don't even know if it's any. It was from like 2 weeks ago that I did it.
Okay.
Tad O'Malley has been making claims.
Claims about what?
He was like the
You and
Glenn
everyone
Beck
you know
type
has a piece
guy.
of DNA in your genome, put there without your knowing it.
But by whom?
Well, that's the
Oh
question
no.
of the day.
Oh no.
This is an internet
Implanted?
lunatic. You're not saying you believe him.
Hold on, Agent Einstein. You're talking to a scientist.
Forgive
to a
me, Assistant
scientist.
Director. It may sound insensitive, but the suggestion is pure science fiction.
What I'm
Believe the
saying,
science.
Agent Einstein, is that the facts, as I understand them, cannot be discounted out of hand.
No one
That's
has
what
the
they're
right
saying
or
about the
the ability
drones.
to tamper with your DNA.
Unless we gave them that ability.
Oh, see,
You say they're tampering with our DNA, that they're able to shut down our immune systems
whoops.
by the addition of something to our DNA.
Yes, but I don't know how exactly.
That's what's going
How
on
it's
right
being
now
triggered.
I don't know that.
You
with
think
his
so?
jab.
Or
You
why
think
it's
so?
happening now.
What can we possibly do?
We need to act quickly.
You were right about that.
Oh, I was wrong about the science. I was wrong about
Oh,
what's
no.
causing it. Dead wrong, in fact.
But it's
They go on and on. It's so good
Wrong
though.
about the science. Science can't possibly be wrong.
Totally, the DNA is messing with, and you know they're coming out with everything now.
Our government wouldn't possibly lie to
Crap.
us.
You know what else I was going to do and I forgot today, guys? Oh,
What?
this whole, I
It's
feel
been
bad. The audience is
it's
missing out.
December. It's December, everybody. Like we
I
are
was
doing the
going to
best we
go
can.
back and I'm going to do this for people because I just think
Okay.
it's that good. I was going to go back to my original, I did two original shows, like
Oh,
one on January 6th and one on January 7th. And I was
okay.
going to pull some clips from the Todd Allen show because I knew the second I saw it what was going on. And now they're coming out. Did you see this week they came out? The FBI came out right the day after Christopher Wray, the FBI director, resigned,
Mm-hmm.
which was because Trump told him he was going to fire him.
Right.
The day after, the FBI finally came out and said, "Oh yeah, of the crowd at January 6th, we had 26 FBI informants in the crowd, and none of them have been prosecuted for anything. Undercover FBI informants."
Wow.
that were starting all this stuff. We already knew that. Everybody knew that. Well, I don't know that everybody knew that. Maybe those in the 5% of the people do pay attention. But I
Right.
knew that. I the day I watched it, I was like, this is a Fedsurrection. That's
Oh,
what
a
you're
Fed
watching.
surrection. Yeah, I was gonna say, and you're just told by people that you've got the tinfoil hat on, right?
But I loved it because remember the um Chewbacca guy, Chewbacca man,
Oh
who
yeah,
had this, I can't remember what
yeah,
he called himself.
the Braveheart
The Q shaman or
Chewbacca guy.
something.
Q shaman.
I
Yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember his name. And then the guy who's like all around Nancy Pelosi's podium. I
Yeah.
love that guy. All I love January 6th. It was some of the best entertainment I've ever seen.
Oh,
It was great.
I'm
Now,
glad you
what's
enjoy it.
happened to everybody
I
was
was gonna
horrible.
say,
I,
oh,
of
so
course,
horrible.
I knew what they were trying to set up. I didn't realize how vindictive they would be in trying to tear American citizens' lives apart.
It's
But
awful.
now we know. We know far more about our precious government 4 years later than we did back then.
True. But I mean, there are people in this election who just go off about January 6th, like, like they were like Trump supporters were burning down the cities or something.
Oh yeah.
Imagine.
Coming right off BLM too, where they actually burned down cities and nothing happened to anybody.
Right. I mean, they acted like it was horrible and they didn't acknowledge how awful the riots were and all the damage and all that. So it's just wow. I think it's crazy. I think
So,
it's
but
crazy.
you've been watching the drones. You've been paying. Now it's mainstream, right?
It's mean, well, I
I
guess
mean,
so.
kind of. I would say
Everybody's talking about it. I'll be
everybody's talking. You were at
honest.
work. Like, is your boss talking about the drones, or does that not come up?
No, he just
Financial
watches
advisors
financial
don't give a
news.
shit about
He just
drones.
watches what's it called? What's
C-SPAN or
the
something.
C-SPAN? Yeah, he just watches.
Not C-SPAN.
No, it's
CNBC or something.
CNBC.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
whatever
That's the
is
money one.
I think so.
I don't
That's it.
know. It's been so long since I had any money. I forget what they even
I
watch
know.
and care
I
about.
don't watch it. I don't pay attention to that. No, I'll be honest. The only thing that I've really been seeing about the drones is a lot of jokes and memes about it.
Okay.
And I
Do you
saw a
feel like
bunch of
people aren't really taking it seriously quite yet? Or do you think they
no,
are?
I think they are, I'm seeing people online saying, and people in Washington saying, why aren't we shooting them down? Which is what I said when you
Trump
first
said
told me
that. He
about
came
them.
out and said that yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. I want to know if we have stuff, if we have things, unidentified objects flying over secure areas,
Shoot them.
and we don't know where they're from. I can't believe we weren't shooting them down immediately. I don't get that.
Have you developed any theories on what you think might be going on? Because you haven't had tons of theories as we've gone through.
Yeah.
I've been bringing this up and had a few things I've thrown out there, but
I
now that
mean,
it's continued,
I
you
heard
know.
one crashed yesterday. That was really
Yeah.
the only other thing I've heard is that one crashed somewhere. And I'm thinking, is there going to be like a made in the USA sticker on it somewhere? Like
Do you
that's what I'm
think
wondering.
do you
Are they
think
our
that
own?
you think they're ours? Our military? Or
Maybe
I mean,
if our
whatever,
military isn't
CIA or
alarmed
something.
by it, then I'm guessing they're ours.
Yeah.
If we're not shooting them down and destroying them,
Hmm.
maybe they're ours. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Possible.
What do you think? You probably have
Well,
wiser
I told you
theories.
last week I and I okay, I'm going to stand by what I said last week, which
Okay.
is whatever they are,
Hmm.
they're a distraction and that's all they are.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that's their primary purpose is to distract you. So, I would personally I watch the coverage like I would watch a fireworks show. And that's
Okay.
exactly how much weight I give it. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm kind of like
expect.
not worried about it because I just feel like whatever, like they know what it is. They're telling us they don't know what it is. They know what it is.
I did read one theory this week that I found maybe a fuzz
Okay.
like unnerving, But
Okay.
there I saw one that said that they are absolutely ours and that it's Space Force and that they're sniffer drones is what I saw them called. And that
Okay.
the deep state is
Oh,
planning a false flag event, which we've talked about for months,
okay.
and that it's probably a nuclear bomb set off, maybe a dirty bomb, and that all of
Wow.
these drones are sniffing for that. essentially, because there's some kind of an attack
Oh.
incoming, and that the reason they're not giving any information out is because they don't want to set off a mass panic along the East Coast and have everybody, but also that everybody this guy knew who had like family in the military that was anywhere up where they would have any kind of knowledge, all of their families had left the East Coast.
There you go.
So there's that. That's
There's that.
encouraging.
Yep. Yeah, if their families have moved, it might be time to go take a little
So
trip.
that's
Go out west for Christmas.
one option that I don't know. You know what I mean? I have no idea.
Go skiing in Colorado if you can find a hotel room that isn't taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
Exactly. Or maybe enjoy the Venezuelan gangs. That's what they're there for. Have a Merry Christmas with the Venezuelan.
Sell your wife and kids into gangs.
Or at least rent them, maybe
sex
get a little
trafficking.
extra income for the holidays. You don't have to. It have to be a permanent
So
thing, maybe.
awful.
Or maybe they only take them on a permanent basis. I
So
don't know.
awful. Hey, maybe the drones are a distraction from the hip breakage going on. Have you heard about the hip breakage?
Hip breakage.
So Nancy
Other
Pelosi
than Nancy Pelosi, I haven't
and
heard
I
of
think
it.
Mitch McConnell also
Mitch
fell.
McConnell broke his hip too?
I mean,
I didn't even realize he was still ambulatory. I thought they were just rolling him around on a stretcher.
I know. I didn't realize he was
on a gurney.
actually.
Here comes Mitch.
He's kind
Frozen,
of animated.
can't
Don't you
talk.
feel like he's another like kind of animated corpse like Biden?
Yes.
Hey Todd, where's Biden?
Who knows?
Where
He's trying to
is
sell
he?
off anything that that remains of the stuff to finish the wall. Did you
But do
see
you think-
that?
Yeah, but yeah, well, I think we should definitely talk about that. But do you think that's even him? He's
I don't
not doing that. He's not like,
He-
hey, let's do this.
Who
I don't
knows
think
what
he's-
he's doing?
I don't think
have-
he's trying to sabotage Trump.
I do.
You do? Biden
Well,
personally? I don't think
just
it's
don't.
him.
You don't know about, but he's all over the place. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I don't think it's him.
I don't. There's no telling. I mean, Biden's been dead for years. They
I know
just
that's what I
keep-
mean. Maybe it's Obama.
He's issuing lots of pardons.
Yeah, what's with the We need an agenda today.
There's he's pardoning pedophiles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just looking for that because that was up here.
Okay.
Where'd that go? Oh yeah, breaking news. Joe Biden just provided a Chinese national with
Mhm.
clemency who was convicted of having 47,000 child pornography
Oh.
images in his possession, which included the raping and I don't know if it was killing, I don't know, of infants. I mean, it's bad. Bad stuff.
Right.
Everybody that he's been issuing pardons to are extremely bad people, including Hunter. But
Gosh.
it's
So
yeah,
yeah,
I heard that Nancy Pelosi got broke her hip. That she's in Italy, and I'll tell you the truth on
Oh.
what I think of that. I think
Mhm.
that I don't know whether she broke her hip or didn't break her hip.
right.
Maybe Paul hit her with a hammer. Maybe not. There's no telling, really.
Maybe
But one
Paul's
thing I
mother
think
hit her
is
with a
I
hammer.
don't think that Nancy Pelosi's coming back from Italy because I don't think
You don't
she
think
wants to
so?
be here to be indicted.
Gotcha. Oh, you think she's going to stay? Maybe she's staying for the Pope opening the portal.
I have a
of the-
feeling she's staying for the duration, someplace
You
where
think
they
she's
will not
staying?
try to send her back.
Okay.
Here's Nancy Pelosi speaking of. This is her and little Katie Couric.
Okay.
Katie Couric, man. She hit the wall about 40 years ago, I think. Holy cow, she's in rough shape.
Is she?
Oh,
You're talking
God.
about her appearance?
Little Katie Couric.
Are
yeah.
you bashing Katie Couric's appearance?
Oh, it's rough.
She hasn't
She ran out of her adrenochrome supply.
Well, I was going to say,
And it's
doesn't she have
rough.
access to all of these youthful renewal?
But
you
this
know,
is her and Nancy
products?
trying to talk in New York City, and
Okay.
they're getting supposedly booed and heckled. Let's see what's going on.
Ooh. When was this?
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Just this week.
Thank
Uh-oh.
you. Okay.
Before she broke a hip and went to Italy. Oh. Nobody
Don't worry
wants.
about that. I'm from San Francisco. I'm used to this.
She's used to it. Oh, this goes on for a while. I'm
I
getting
love
heckled and
it.
Have
booed.
an opportunity for the audience to ask questions. So we'll wait till the end of our conversation to do that.
See, they'll get what they want because all the press will say is that we got interrupted.
All right, all right.
They are not letting him go.
You never know what to expect at the 92nd Street Y.
So they're outside?
No, they're like, it's N92NY, whatever that means. It's New York somewhere. They're on stage.
Okay.
And nobody, like, whatever's going on is just mass pandemonium.
Oh my gosh.
I'll wait a second to continue.
Little Katie Curry's going to wait a minute. Oh, God. Somebody's mad.
Imagine.
Somebody's tired of Nancy Pelosi insider trading on
Oh,
stocks.
nice. I love that.
And little Katie Couric thinks that she's back in a room with, what's his name? Who was the guy?
I
Who
don't
was
know.
the daytime guy?
The Matt
The
Lauer
morning-
guy?
Yeah, Matt Lauer. He just locked his door with his little button, and poor little Katie Couric is like, I thought I hit the wall a while ago.
For the hostages. And be
Oh my
careful
gosh.
about the hostages,
What?
which they never mention. So,
Is that how she quieted them down?
I guess.
I mean, which to be honest is
This is our.
it's something worthy of bowing your head, but I can't believe that like she's getting heckled and she's like pulling the ace she pulls out of her pocket is let's bow our head for the hostages.
Let's say a prayer for Paul and his hammer wielding
Wow.
gay lovers.
So I'm looking here, 92 NY.
I don't know what it is.
I don't either. It must her and I want to see what that is. That's really crazy. I have to admit, I kind of love that.
Well, things are starting to break
Yes.
open. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Like that's a great example of it right there.
I've read some things, and I can't remember exactly what they're calling it, but it's like an opinion shift that happens like suddenly, like things are kind of rolling around, and then all of a sudden the wake up happens, like, and it's
Like there's a
in
name for it.
en masse, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
all of a sudden a bunch of things. This here is you may not know her. Have you ever heard of Anna Kasparian? I don't know exactly how to say her name. She was on the Young Turks.
No.
And big lib, has been a big lib for a long time. Well, this
What's
is her
the Young Turks? Is that a show?
That's a
She
show.
like a celebrity?
Kind of like they it's been an internet news show that's been pretty popular for a long time, but it's
okay.
lib.
Okay, not
If I could
familiar.
If I could remember the guy's name, but he's like Turkish, so I don't. Who
Okay.
knows how to say his name? But this is her being interviewed by Glenn Beck because she had kind of an awakening.
Oh,
So she's kind of coming around.
nice.
And this is like a real awakening. Let's see what
Okay.
Anna Kasparian, I don't even know how to say her name.
Okay.
I can definitely be honest about my own flaws and my own mistakes because I bought the mainstream media narrative that there wasn't a migrant crisis.
Really?
And yeah, I did believe it. I believe because look, I was an
can't
idiot
believe
because I mean, who do you trust in today's
I know.
media landscape?
I know.
Right? There's a lot of liars out there,
Yeah, I
and
know.
when it comes to mainstream media, the fact of the matter is they do play defense more
Glenn's
and more
so
for the
sweet.
Democratic Party, and that's an issue because there was a time when that didn't happen, and so I still believed in their good faith reporting, even though it turns out, a lot of these reports
They were all
would
lies.
omit really important details about
They've
what's
been
really
lying
going
to
on.
you for years,
And so
hon.
it wasn't until Texas Governor Greg Abbott started busing or sending migrants to blue cities where that woke me up. That woke a lot of people up, and suddenly
Why?
America realizes, oh, there is a migrant crisis.
Stop the tape.
Why did that?
That's what Rush always used to say.
Stop the tape.
I wish I had somebody here to stop the tape besides me.
Right? I know. It's all right. We're up and comers, Todd.
I have heard this. I've got another clip from somebody who they really believe that that one of the major turning points was when Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, the governor of Florida and Texas, respectively, started sending illegal immigrants up by the busload or by the plane load up to northern states, and that this really, like, everybody at the time, all the left, all the press was like, oh, this is just a stunt.
Right. It's a stunt. It's,
Except when they got to Martha's Vineyard, they had them off that
criticized
island
it.
in like 12 hours flat. They were like, we'll give you a hot meal, and then you're swimming with the sharks across.
Unbelievable.
But
Wow.
that really made a difference to people. Like that was something that I think had, like, it really, it moved the needle with libs when it came to illegal immigration specifically, and how much, and that's the thing, is once you start to realize, now this happened for us, well, hell, this happened to me a long time ago, but in COVID, it happened with a lot of people. And which is, once you start to realize that they're lying to you,
Yes.
then you start pulling on that thread, and everything unravels that you've been taught or that you believe about the media.
Yep.
Let's see if you want to listen to more.
So yeah, but I want to say something. It's really
no,
interesting.
Carrie, no saying anything for you. I'm just kidding.
I find it interesting that this was a turning point, and I'm like, and I think I can't say I figured out why, but Biden, the administration, was flying and busing migrants to, like, Florida, for example.
Oh,
but someone like her didn't know about it because the mainstream media wasn't reporting on it. But as soon as, DeSantis and Greg Abbott went and did this, it was like, oh, this isn't right. And they're just dumping
this is just a stunt.
They're
That's
just
what they
dumping
called
these
it.
people. Yeah, but they were criticizing him, saying they're dumping these people. And it's like, that's what you guys are doing.
Exactly.
So they were so pissed that they reported on it. So I find it kind of funny that this was happening, but people like her, libs,
They didn't know about it
because their news sources weren't telling them.
And they're not living in Texas or Florida, where these people are doing all this damage. Where
there's a formula
eating the
there.
dogs.
They were eating eating the pets. They're eating the pets. Todd, but there's a formula there that if there's anything you need everyone to open up their eyes to, you have to turn it around and make it offensive enough that the mainstream media reports on it. And then
you have to get it. You have to get it in their space and in their grill.
Yep.
Essentially, is kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what else she has
Note
to say
to
with
selves.
Glenn.
Wake you up.
Okay, yeah.
Well, because all of a sudden you're seeing migrants sleeping on the floor in the police department in Chicago because they don't have shelter for these people.
Right.
What? You're seeing, these. I love watching streams of city council meetings because that's how you understand what's really going on in these cities, right? These are real people who live there and they get their opportunity to speak.
Chicago's been an amazing thing to watch.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch every city council
That's
meeting.
what that
from
lady
Chicago.
is.
They're
It's
crazy.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And
Black lady is, I
for
love
me,
her.
rather than relying on mainstream media reporting or anyone's reporting, to be quite honest with you, what I'll do is I'll go out of my way and I'll watch, the entirety of a government function, local government function. I talk to real people and I get a sense of where hearts and minds really are.
I think I'd rather gouge
And so
my
on
own eyes
election
out with a
night,
spoon.
I wasn't surprised at all. I knew what was coming.
I already know what's
totally
going
knew
on.
It was coming.
I don't need to listen to regular
that
people
Cook
talk
County
about it.
was going to swing. I think it's about 8 percentage points toward Republicans. I knew LA County, and this is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either.
No.
Because when you look at the conditions that people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning their backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption.
This is a real
at
awakening.
The loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless. When homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted for. It was funneled to
And
nonprofits
she's only scratched
whose
the
executives
surface.
get paid minimum $200,000, $250,000 a year. And they have multiple executives who are making at least that or more. And you just see the waste and you see the real grift. And so for people out there who are concerned about the grifters,
You haven't
take a
even
good hard
started
look at the
seeing the
systemic
waste
grifting
yet,
that's
honey.
happening right now. It's disgusting.
Wait till Elon. That was on the thing.
What was that?
That was a little. That was the blaze.
Oh, thank you.
I
I'm
didn't.
sorry.
I didn't do it quite fast enough. You thought that? Oh my God! You were like the aliens have landed outside my house.
A drone just like crashed into my house. I thought that it was something, through the headphones. I thought it was something in my living room that just happened.
I know. I saw you. You're like, oh,
Did
God.
I jump? I know. Sorry about that.
You're back to the movie Signs.
That's beautiful.
Swing away, Luke.
Such a good movie.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
I love Mel Gibson in almost any movie. He was at Mar-a-Lago this week with General Flynn and Kid Rock hanging out.
Oh,
with Trump.
hanging
Isn't that
out.
cool?
Nice.
Mar-a-Lago is the new. FDR had one of those. He had like his. I think they called it the Summer White House. I can't remember where it was. I don't know if it was Tennessee or North Carolina. But anyway, someplace down in the mountains or whatever. And it was better for him because of his. Could have been Georgia. I can't remember, but he had. Polio or whatever he had.
Right.
And it was better. He would kind of soak in these mineral.
A different climate or something
I don't know.
was good for him.
Yeah. So he had
That's
kind of his
cool.
own, like, I don't know if it was like a Southern type of White House, but that's kind of what you got going on with Trump. And
right. He's meeting with, I love it.
Yeah, he's down there. Mel was down there. I love Mel Gibson. If I could take and have my number, like if Witness was made into a show,
yeah,
which to do that, I'd probably have to write some more seasons. But if Witness was made into a show,
yeah,
man, Mel's my guy for Lucas Young. Even now, even he's
wow.
probably a little long in the tooth for the role, but I feel like he could pull it off.
He could, maybe, with some CGI.
Wasn't Lucas like, isn't he like 60s?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he had a 30-year, like, that he missed.
Did he age?
Otherwise, he'd be like
time?
90. No.
He didn't. Okay.
No. So that's why he's like,
that's kind of cool.
60 and Elle's like 35 or something. You know what I mean? And
right.
So.
Well, Mel Gibson, he's cool. Yeah. That'd be interesting. I like him. But it's funny you talk about the who's hanging out with Trump. I just heard that Trump and Vance invited Daniel Penny, the guy who was just acquitted.
I heard that
the
Vance
charges.
did, but yeah.
Yeah, invited to watch oh shoot, what was it?
Was it like the inauguration or what is it?
No, it's like a game. Shoot, I'm sorry, I just blanked on
like a football game or something?
It was like I thought it was it was either a football game. Oh, it's the Army Navy game.
Oh, Army Navy game. You're right. Yes.
That's coming up.
I did see that. I forgot about it and it wasn't important enough to me.
I just thought it was sweet. I was like, that's
did you
cool.
follow that Daniel Penny case at all? A little bit?
I did. We did quite a bit here. How about
What'd you think? I did not follow it a lot. I knew from the beginning that he was innocent and getting railroaded.
Sure.
But courtroom dramas are not I'm just not that interested. So I don't follow as closely as I should.
I didn't follow. I was only following like major updates on the jury and that kind of thing. We didn't follow the courtroom part, but the case itself we followed on the news because we were really, how do I say this? I was really concerned about it.
Here we go. Oh, you were. You're like, how do I say this?
Well, I was concerned about it.
Oh,
like,
God,
we
Carrie's
supported,
been working for the Venezuelan gangs.
No,
making some extra Christmas
him.
money.
Like, how could you not think this guy was like amazing? We'd be so pissed if we found out that this, unfortunately crazy homeless guy on drugs and whatever, like slashed a bunch of people on the subway. And then we found out that there were grown, capable men sitting right there who did nothing. We would have been outraged.
Alvin Bragg would have been happy. That's what he wants.
Sure, of course.
Black homeless people slashing
white people. Yeah.
Homed people.
White. Homed people.
Homed people.
Homed people. Anyway, so we would have been outraged, and I absolutely love that that he ended up getting off. When the jury came back deadlocked on the first charge, I was really concerned.
You were?
So, sure.
What did you think was going to happen?
Well, I thought, oh no, there are people on that jury who are like Alvin Bragg, but I'm just happy that they saw through it enough. And so Judge Janine Pirro, is that how you say her name? Judge Janine.
I heard her talking for 3-4 minutes on Hannity yesterday about it.
Yeah,
she was real invested, I guess.
Very, and she's as a judge, and she is a New Yorker, and she interviewed this I'm going to call him this kid. He seems pretty young, but after the interview, she said that he is the most like honest, compelling.
Who's the kid? Daniel Perry?
Daniel Penny.
Penny?
Penny. Yeah.
I don't even know his name.
That's okay. I was going to say, what's the name of the guy who died? I feel like he's maybe
I don't know. He doesn't matter either.
But anyway.
He doesn't matter at all. He's already in hell.
Oh,
Just
stop.
kidding.
I hope not. I feel bad for the guy.
It's Christmas. Don't you want to picture some people roasting in hell?
I do not. That is not me.
Okay.
But anyway,
I thought that's what people liked.
I just feel like he's such a good guy. But Janine said that. She says he was just absolutely so like you're just taken by him and by his honesty and his goodness. Like you can just see it and feel it. And I thought
Judge Janine was taken by him. I bet she was.
But
she looks like an old broad that would be taken with a guy that age.
I can imagine that. I can imagine Judge Janine being a little wow. But I'm glad. I think the jury must have seen that too. So I'm very relieved.
It's encouraging that even in New York City, they were able to find a jury of quasi competent and honest people.
And I feel like that's another example of that shift that you're talking about.
Yeah, hopefully,
because those people, as liberal as they may be politically, they ride the subway. They've seen crazies. Everyone who's ever been in New York City has encountered someone.
I've never been in New York City.
Makes them a little nervous.
If it's up to me, I'll never go.
Oh, New York used to be just wonderful. I'm
not a big city guy.
It's nice to visit. I didn't like working there. But
you lived there, right? Well, you didn't live there, but you worked there.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to live there.
Yeah. Where'd you live in Jersey or something?
Jersey. Yep.
I barely
hour-long bus ride.
So you'd ride the bus an hour in.
Yep.
Do your radio thing. And then
magazine.
Or it wasn't radio. Magazine.
Fashion magazine.
This is when you were modeling.
Yes.
So, this is in Carrie's early modeling career.
Let's just stick with that story. Why not? No, I was absolutely not. But yeah, it was it's a grind just getting to and from there. But New York is really, really cool. But
My sister's in New York this weekend.
Really?
Courtney, yeah. I don't talk to her. The only reason I know that's because of Instagram.
Oh, nice. Is this like is
we
she
don't
there
communicate
for Christmas
or talk at all. I assume that she didn't just make it up.
Right. She has a big screen TV with New York behind her taking selfies.
With my love in New York.
I'm in New York. No, that's super cool. New York's very, very fun at Christmas, honestly.
I used to go to Chicago once in a while on Christmas. It's pretty, lights and whatever.
It's just like that.
And I just as soon not go there either.
You've been to Chicago. You've run into crazy people on the street who are like talking to themselves and shouting, obscenities at people passing by. I mean, you just see that once in a while.
There was some I think it was like a joke or a gag going around that like Allie texted Nikki. It was late one night. And she's like,
okay.
It looked like kind of like an Allendale.
This is a daughter texting his wife. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and it was like there's a serial killer on the loose. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Department's put out a thing and like all this stuff about this serial killer. And I said to Nikki, I was like, I've got a 12-pack of beer on the front porch. Do you think that serial killer's going to take my beer?
That's all you're worried about?
We can do that up here because it's 30 degrees out.
Well, yeah, you save a lot of refrigerator space.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing, by the way, with the weather?
Cold, it's schizophrenic all over. So it'll go it's been real cold the last couple days. When I say cold, I mean it was negative. The wind chill was -6 yesterday. The kids had a snow day on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the snow day.
We're going into it's going to be 40 degrees for the next 3 or 4 days, or it may be 48, and all next week is about freezing, so everything will melt, which is good. It's fine. I don't need the deep freeze, but it's just real schizophrenic,
crisp,
up and down.
But it's not, you're not housebound by it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I wasn't necessarily housebound, but it just it's cold.
Yeah. We've had a couple more. Oh my gosh, did I tell you that we were scraping windshields a couple times?
You did. Thought you guys are shoveling sunshine down in Florida.
So funny. Well, not in North Florida. but
Not in North Florida.
it's just so funny. Patrick's like, I can't believe this. Can't believe you used to do this. I'm like, yeah, this is nothing.
This is not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, we're happy for Daniel Penny.
Yeah, he's
I'm glad
alive.
I know.
Let's go.
I got
Oh.
This is Bongino talking about the drones.
Oh,
He
okay.
thinks that the government knows exactly what they are.
Oh yeah. Why wouldn't
That's
they?
his opinion.
Okay.
I'm going to throw something out at you right up front here.
I like Bongino.
They
I do
know
too.
exactly who owns these drones
Yeah.
and what they're doing in the sky. But they don't want to tell you for a reason. The reason is the United States government and the deep staters involved in it, they don't want to scare you with their own inadequacy.
Oh no. Oh shoot.
Folks, I'm telling you
I'm
right now,
already
they know
scared
who
by
these
their
drones
inadequacy.
belong
Yeah.
to.
If you're not scared,
We are
you're
at
not
real
paying
risk
attention.
here. Our airspace is not secure. They
Right.
don't know what to do with these drones. And, I said bottom line up front, so I hate teases because they're for morons. Oh, stay tuned later in the show. If you like the show, you'll stay no matter what. I'm 95% sure, if not more, it's China or some foreign adversary.
Okay.
There
it is.
Could be wrong. I'm throwing it out there, and I'm basing it on a few different things. Let's dig in. Receipts matter, okay? Congressman Jeff Van Drew will be on my radio show later. He represents an area in New Jersey where they've had this issue, right? He was a former Democrat, now Republican. He'll be on the radio show later today. If you want to tune in, you can check it out on Rumble and Locals. The last hour, of course, is for local subscribers. We're doing a conversion, by the way, soon over to Rumble Premium. So hang out. I got a few questions about that.
No.
From
Not going to be
listeners.
free?
Here's a tweet from
I don't
Congressman
know. I
Van
rarely
Drew.
go on Rumble.
Folks, I
should.
have no reason to believe this guy's lying about any of this.
We should be on Rumble.
He says, first, a Chinese spy balloon drifted
Well, I got
across
too
U.S.
much going
airspace
on,
for a
guys.
week. Yeah, that's right. Now, unidentified drones are flying over New Jersey, avoiding radar detection. Gaps, listen to the last line. Gaps in our airspace are being exploited. And because of it, the safety of Americans is at risk. Dan, you're throwing this out there. You think it may be China or some foreign adversary. Why? Because I'm listening to people who are in the know in the area who are probably being told things but can't say it.
What do you think? You think it's foreign drones? Possible?
Well, they've come out and said specifically they are not a foreign threat. So I'm thinking they probably are.
Yeah. we know they're lying. It's just a question.
Right. I don't know. So I don't really know. But what's with they talked about something when Elon Musk came onto the scene during early in the campaign. I feel like people were talking about some sort of defense that would protect the United States. It was kind of like an infrastructure thing, some kind of dome thing. And I'm like, I don't know if it's like
Something
not
comparable
an
to Israel's
actual-
Iron Dome.
Yeah, what's the Iron Dome?
Israel's Iron Dome is basically they got all these missile sites kind of set up all over the country, and they
Okay.
automatically take out incoming rockets and missiles.
Okay.
And they do pretty good. They don't get them all, but they get a lot of them.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what, but I think they get 90% or
Okay.
95.
Well,
They do a
wow.
lot. Like, they do a good job. Now, to be fair, Israel's like the size of New Jersey, or if that. I mean, Israel's not
True.
be difficult, probably. Of course, they don't care about the flyover anyway. They'd probably only do the east and west coast. And they'd be like,
Right. Like,
who gives a shit if it hits Iowa?
middle America. Who cares?
Are they going to take out 3 cornfields with a nuke?
Yeah, really. There's no one there anyway. Those electoral vote. We don't get those electoral
Yeah.
votes anyway.
Those don't matter.
I don't know.
I don't, you know what? I suspect that they may be, that not all of them, but a fair amount of what we're seeing may be holograms. I've seen some things where they've done some amazing things, like
You think the drones, you mean, might be holograms?
I think so. I know that sounds odd, but I've seen some amazing footage of what they can do with holograms. Like in the middle of cities, it'll look like killer whales, like jumping up through, like look real.
Okay.
Possible. That's what the
All right.
jets were on 9/11. But I don't think.
No.
I think that's more than possible.
They're
I think.
actual like people on those flights, Dad.
Well, I'm not saying that the
Like-
flights didn't get destroyed. I'm not saying that.
Oh,
I guess it'd be they
gotcha.
were probably shot down long before that.
Wow.
But regardless, who knows?
Okay.
But I don't know. I just question the entire thing. I don't a planes going into the World Trade Center with all the steel that's in those buildings it's hard to believe. There's a lot more steel in those buildings than there are on those planes. And I understand the planes are coming in kind of fast, but still.
True.
Planes
Yeah,
are
I don't
light.
know.
You know what I mean? Like they crumple.
Right. Like that what they call it, the fuselage.
Trump said that the day after. He's like, I don't know how this would happen. I said, I know the way these buildings are built, and I simply don't know how it would happen. I don't know how they take out those steel beams like that.
Wow.
So there's been stuff like that all along. I mean, we've got, we do our conspiracy stuff and we find, I got a good one today that I'm not even sure that we're ready for. I'm not sure that people out there are ready for this on the questioning the actual Holocaust numbers that this guy goes into.
We're not ready.
And he does like a bang up job. And he's like, dude, I don't think they could have killed 6 million if they wanted to. And he starts going through the numbers and the logistics of what would be involved and how inefficient, like the idea of gassing people and shit. Like it's the most inefficient way to kill a bunch of people that you would ever come up with. And he's like, we're talking about the Germans who were like the most efficient engineers. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, maybe we'll save that for after the first of the year. Get by Christmas.
I don't know. Maybe you need to have like a guest person on to talk with you about that, because I think I'd fight you on that one.
I don't have an opinion. I'm open to hearing what people have to say about things. I've never actually been what I would consider to be a Holocaust denier, but anything that people tell you you're not allowed to question without being a denier, then I think I'd like to hear the questions.
Okay.
That's all.
I hear you. Gotcha.
That's really how I am about all of it. I don't know where we're at on 9/11. I'm pretty sure they're lying about the official story. I don't know where we're at on JFK's assassination. I know when it comes down to it, if the government's telling us something and the media's telling us something, I know they're lying. So I'm interested in the questions. And that's kind of where I come at things. So when I bring it to people, I'm interested. I think these people make an interesting point. It's not necessarily, I don't agree or disagree. I don't know enough.
You think it's okay to explore it and discuss it.
The fact that people don't want me to makes me want to do it even more. I think,
I see.
Wait a second. There's something that's not allowed to be questioned. All right.
Okay, gotcha. You're like,
That's where I come from on it.
I'm diving in now. Got it. So I decided that after Christmas, I'm holding off. I'm really dying to watch this, but I'm like, it's really not the time of year to watch this. Have you seen, there's a 5 or 6 episode documentary on Netflix called Wormwood?
So
Wormwood, which I find interesting, is the name of the nephew.
Yeah, Screwtape Letters.
In Screwtape Letters.
I knew that. But I didn't know what the connection would be.
Yeah, I read about it a little bit. It has to do with like the poisoning. There's a biblical reference. It's like kind of like the poisoning of the water, poisoning.
Right. But what's the documentary about?
The documentary is about a scientist who died mysteriously in the 70s while working with the CIA on, I believe it already. The MK Ultra.
Yep. I'm familiar with that.
The MK Ultra.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, historic. I don't know a lot about it.
Oh, it absolutely happened.
I was going to say it's like LSD, torture, eventually
mind control,
leading to mind control
but eventually media control. Right?
Say that again?
It was kind of a mass mind control experiment using media.
Okay.
Parts of it anyway. You're right that parts of it were individual.
Okay.
Kind of Jason Bourne-ish stuff.
Yes.
But
yes, apparently like potentially could be triggered later.
Yeah.
To do their bidding.
A little bit. I've heard bits and pieces. I don't know as much as
it looks really good.
I might have to watch it. Yeah,
I'm going to watch it after. Maybe we'll watch after Christmas. And
after Christmas, because you want to stay in the Christmas spirit.
I do.
And you feel like that's going to take you out of the Christmas.
It looks really dark. And
I could see that.
but I'm planting seeds. I showed the trailer to Alexander. I think he might be on board.
Well, I think that's
Get
what's interesting.
Patrick
It's
to watch.
interesting. It's interesting to look at things that they tell you can't be questioned because we know that
Mhm.
they. I mean, the biggest thing was COVID, right? What do you got,
Yes.
Carrie?
Sorry,
You just
I'm
had an
sorry.
epiphany.
I remembered one of the reasons I wanted to tell you about it because they're making it's a trailer, so it's showing like flashes of this and flashes of that. And it said it was during a time, this guy's interviewing. It was during a time everyone was really questioning the integrity of the government.
Imagine.
And they showed a picture of Gerald Ford.
Not St. Jerry.
And I was like, oh, I'm like, Todd needs to see this.
They don't know he's been venerated.
Yeah. So
Interesting. You just reminded me of something, but I can't find whatever it was. It was I don't know that I'm gonna find it. Because I can't even remember what it was. It's something you said. Oh,
what's it about? Oh no.
It's always fun.
Mind control,
I'm kind of more
LSD?
I don't know that I can do all this. It's too long. I got I'm gonna have to we're gonna have to do that at a different time. This guy is he goes on and on about how we've been lied to about nicotine forever.
Oh my gosh, I just heard someone tell me.
And I thought you might be
Were
interested
you telling
in
me
it.
that?
I probably was,
I think
but it's
you were, and I was like,
the
oh
problem
my
is it's like a
gosh.
10-minute clip, and I can't remember if most of it's
Okay.
on the front end. You know what I mean? Like we don't have time for anything like that. And then so it's hard for me to pull up that long of a clip when I don't have it queued to where I want it. And because he also goes into snake venom and how that's in the vaccines and stuff. So you wonder if but he makes some interesting points about nicotine. And it was true that nicotine was people who were smokers were not they were surprisingly immune to COVID. Remember that?
Right, like almost zero death rate when they contracted COVID. You were telling me about that. That was wild.
It's also interesting how much nicotine is present naturally in tomatoes, eggplants, a lot of things that we consider superfoods.
Really?
Now, I don't think he would disagree that that cigarettes necessarily are bad for you, but that it would have more to do with the
horrible.
I think he would have more to do with the additives.
Okay.
Is the idea maybe that I would get? I'm not a smoker. Well,
there
I'm
are
not a cigarette smoker.
carcinogens. There are carcinogens in cigarettes. That's terrible, terrible, terrible. Nicotine in and of itself is not bad for you, but it's highly addictive.
See, this guy claims it's not, I think. But anyway, we don't have time to get into it. So I don't have.
That's fine.
I'm not the one who can tell
But
you
it doesn't
or
all
it's
by
not.
itself. It doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it has long-term health. I mean, you can use a nicotine patch and
Yeah.
That's
kind of what he was talking about doing. How he uses nicotine patches all the time.
Like he uses them for other things.
For health.
For health?
Boosting his immune system. All these things.
You know what? I wonder if someone gets COVID, if you slap a nicotine patch on them. I wonder if it helps them or if it has to be in your system.
I have no idea.
Hey, we could put that in the emergency kit with our ivermectin and, hydrochloroquine.
I don't know. We've got a bunch of nicotine gum around here somewhere.
Oh, that's cool. There you go. It's expensive though,
Yeah, well,
stuff's expensive.
Here's our famous former president.
Okay.
Bill.
Which one? Bill. What's Bill got to say?
Bill's back. He thinks maybe people are losing faith in the institutions. Maybe.
Really?
I mean, he's just reading the tea leaves up there.
I think a lot of Democrats, a lot of people like me, independents.
This is Morning Joe.
I was focused.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
On Donald
Joe
Trump's
Scarborough.
political rhetoric, his violent political rhetoric. I said, it sounded like fascist rhetoric to me.
Oh.
You combine that with January 6th, you combine it with everything else.
Oh, is this a
I
while
kept
ago?
talking about that every day because
this is just December 9th.
That was what mattered the most to me. But the pink elephant over there.
The pink elephant.
That's the cost of groceries. That's the cost of gas. That's the thing they've got to take.
I don't understand why the elephant's
first, right?
pink.
Yep. Well,
I
the
don't
average
either.
person believes whether they voted for President Trump or not the first time that we survived it. And they give him perhaps too much credit for the fact that in the first 2.5 years or so of his presidency, the first time, the economy got better. I think the facts are that he inherited the end of the Obama
Oh my gosh.
era's recovery. We went from 8 million jobs in Obama's
I did
last
not
2
have
years
sex
to
with that
6.5
woman.
million
Not
in
one
Trump's first
time.
2 years. But there was no inflation, and people felt it.
It was a cigar.
So we had to see that
That's not
election
sex.
the way they did and answer that. And
Who calls a
start with
cigar
that.
sex?
So when we didn't answer it, it was like we left the pink elephant in the living room. There is a reason why.
Pink
We're
elephants.
already the longest
I'm looking this up.
continuously existing democracy in history. It's hard to save one. That's fine.
That's
but
fine.
if you're going to fight to save it in an election system with all these forces raining down on you, that's the game you got to play. You got to deal with the issues that affect other people's lives. And the same thing's true all around the world. Look at this upheaval is happening. People are losing faith in institutions.
Oh,
and
he got
in
there
many,
finally.
many places, they're going to reward the people that destroyed their faith.
There you go. What do you got for what's a
The
pink elephant?
The pink elephant. I was
Oh
going to
God,
say. I
I
remember.
gotta turn you down.
Oh,
Some
well-
of these clips are so quiet I have to turn it way up, you know what I
Oh,
mean? But then it
gotcha.
turns us up because it's
And
the
then I
master
was-
volume.
Have you got me at a
And
normal
then
now?
you're yelling at us in there. You're like, what
Pink
in the
elephant!
a drone just crashed, a pink elephant drone just crashed into my living room. What do you got?
Pink elephants. I was going to say. I remember pink elephants being in cartoons. That's like it's an expression to indicate like hallucinations by like a drunk person.
Is
so
it?
yes. So I was going to say
Like
that's
LSD
like
or something?
yeah. That is not what they mean. I think Joe Scarborough was trying to say something about the elephant in the room.
Right. He just
But I'm
decided it
thinking
was
to
pink.
myself, is only an elephant in the yeah.
He thought it was an LGBTQ elephant.
It was a rainbow elephant. I don't think that I don't even think it was an elephant in the room. I think it was to them because they were like pretending like not that it wasn't there.
Okay.
But everyone else,
Right.
everyone with their eyes open, like that we were talking about the elephant and it was like, hello,
Yeah.
we can't afford the cost of living right now. Also, what's up with the Democrats not giving Trump credit at the beginning of a term for a good economy because they say it's because he inherited it, and then criticizing him for the last half, like when it's a crappy economy for Biden, for example, criticizing and blaming Trump. It's like they're taking all responsibility off of
Oh,
him.
it's whatever works in their advantage. There's nothing.
They want it both ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Pervs.
Pervs. You and your hammer wielding gay lovers.
Hammer and cigar wielding, flag waving.
Oh, I don't know what you mean. It was a cigar.
Oh my gosh. He sounds crazy.
He sounds old, man.
Do you think he sounds really old? Do you think like when he gets like if he ever gets kind of dementia, if he ever experiences dementia, do you think he'll just occasionally like say things like that? Like, I never had sex with that woman.
I do. Where's that girl with that beret? I like her cheeks. She's cute. I can handle him with a little extra weight. Don't you worry.
I was going to say, he likes it curvy for sure. It's got a type. But
what do you think about this? This is not a clip. I'm just going to read you what happened. I thought this was kind of interesting. Maybe as a teacher, you'll have some, a middle school boy traps his pedophile teacher by pretending to be a 14-year-old girl after his 6th grade female friend said that this teacher sent her uncomfortable messages.
Wow.
So here's what happened.
He ran his own sting.
Yeah, these middle school kids are protecting themselves because we won't protect them, I guess.
Period.
So Huron middle school teacher Zachary Catterbeck, who was 28 years old, was arrested after a male student baited him into sending dick pics on Snapchat. The boy's 12-year-old female friend confided in the boy that her teacher, Catterbeck, had added her on Snapchat and sent her messages that made her feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
The boy then made his own Snapchat account and catfished the teacher by pretending to be a 14-year-old girl named Kate by using photos he found on Pinterest.
Wow.
Oh, so only 4 more years, the 6th grade South Dakota teacher allegedly said with a winky face. He sent more sexual messages before sending the aforementioned bits and pieces pics.
Gross.
The middle
so
schooler
gross.
then shared the evidence with his parents, who then alerted authorities. Catarabec now faces multiple charges of sexual exploitation of a minor, as well as solicitation of a minor.
Holy crap.
Isn't that kind of wild?
Okay. Bravo. Do we have applause? I feel like we need an applause button.
Pretty impressive, right? These kids are like,
I
they
think
got
it's
their stuff
really,
wired tight.
It's really impressive. I would be so pissed as a parent
I know
that they didn't come to me, that they're like, you know.
Well, he did. He just got the evidence first and then came to him.
That's what I mean. The fact that he went and ran this little operation and then
You
got
wouldn't
to me.
like that. You'd be upset if one of your kids,
I mean,
if Patrick or Alexander, was baiting somebody into.
Yeah, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
Why is that? You feel like you feel like they're not.
I feel like it's potentially dangerous.
Oh, well, they got the evidence and showed it right away. I mean,
I guess. I also tried to keep my kids innocent as long as possible.
Right.
So it's pretty disturbing to me. Well, here's the thing too. If my 14-year-old son, got a dick pic of a teacher, I'd be pretty grossed out.
Well, he's pretending to be a 14-year-old girl.
It doesn't matter.
I'm just saying.
My daughter, whatever. I'd be
pedophile's one thing. We don't want to accuse the guy of being gay.
Freaked out. I'd be freaked
he has
out.
standards.
You know what? My daughter and a girlfriend of hers in the neighborhood got a dick pic from a guy one time. It wasn't. It wasn't a teacher.
I don't know this to be for certain,
I freaked out.
I think that nudes and dick pics are somewhat ubiquitous now with technology in this generation. I don't know. I just hear things that make me. I don't get it a lot. My kids aren't necessarily. They don't get that, but I do hear from them about friends and things that go on and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and certainly. Well, I mean, it wasn't a thing at all for us. What would you hand somebody a Polaroid? It just wasn't that kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I find that.
So it's a little bit unfathomable to us.
Yeah.
But this generation with smartphones and everything else, I mean, that's. I don't think any of that's like strange anymore.
It's just what. Yeah, I was going to say it's not like we've never heard of it. Is what you're saying? It's not like this teacher's like, hey. I bet this 14-year-old girl will really like the look of this.
I'm not saying it's okay. my point is that even if you get beyond the teachers, and then see, those are two separate questions. Seems like this thing with teachers is a growing problem.
Do you think it's a growing problem?
Apropos.
Do you think it's a growing problem, or do you think what I missed? I had to itch my ear.
Nothing. I don't know. A growing problem. Anyway.
Oh. You're making a dick joke. I don't know if it's a growing problem or if it's just we're just hearing more about it.
That's what you wonder, right? Because it's hard to know.
The middle school thing's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Middle school?
I think there's a fair amount of that out there.
They are kids, man.
I mean, once you hit high school, and I'm not saying it's okay. In fact, I think it's still against the law, but you do like 16's like age of consent. Now, that not for like a teacher and a 16-year-old. I understand that's not legal or okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like they're starting to get a little older, and high school, I think they're sending nudes and dick pics to each other. You know what I mean? Not maybe less of the teacher thing, but it's in those younger ages where those teachers. They find their victims because they're young enough not to be. The problem is if you do that, and I'm not saying that teachers don't, but if you do that with a 16-year-old, that's going to be all over the school, and you know it. For some reason, they think that a 14-year-old maybe that won't do that. I don't know if that's true or not true. Maybe it still is all over the school, but
it's pretty wild.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, it's just gross. I don't understand looking at someone that young, like a middle schooler. I don't understand looking at.
But you're not sure if you're not sure if that's necessarily growing problem, or if just because of technology and because of how we're
Oh.
living now, where we have more access, and of course 24-hour news and X and everything. If we just know more.
Okay, so one, we know more, but two, the technology might also be opening some doors that weren't there before.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so it could be growing because of that,
I mean, you look at
access.
Snapchat.
Snapchat's very easy to use like that.
I've never been on Snapchat.
Oh,
so
I use Snapchat to keep in touch with my daughter. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I know
our
people do.
primary. It's our besides phone calls, it's our primary line of communication.
Yeah. I
So
don't
you-
understand Snapchat. I
Yeah.
see my kids take pictures of their shoulders and send them to friends, and there's things that I don't understand any part of it. Honestly.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what's going
streaks.
on.
It's streaks, but you send
Talk
a
about
picture.
streaks, but
Yeah.
it's pictures of nothing.
You said
Nothing's going on.
You send a
Oftentimes
picture.
there's no communication.
Yeah.
And I don't
But here's the thing.
understand it. It doesn't make any sense.
The recipient opens the picture and then it's gone.
Yeah. You can't, or if they try to screenshot
Oh,
it.
you're notified if they
Right?
take a screenshot or if they save it or whatever.
Which that's not true on like your Instagrams and things, because it's not the same kind of
Correct.
like
Correct.
disappearing, whatever.
Yeah. There
No, I've
is a
never
way
had
to do-
Snapchat on my phone. I just don't know it. Other than my kids, I know, but they're responsible. I mean, I can trust my kids, but
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they take pictures of their arm and send them to people. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are they just sitting there and they just kind of turn the
Like
phone
a
and go
shoulder
click and then-
pick. Like, I mean, this is the strangest things that don't like.
All that is.
I don't
is
understand how's that communication? What
they
are we
just-
communicating?
It's not about communicating. It's about maintaining the streak. And that is that each of you
To
sends
what end?
one picture. It's just a number that you're trying to hold on to is all.
It's just baffling to me.
I know it makes no sense. It does I'm sure psychologists have studied this already. We talk about the dopamine.
Yeah, that's what
get
it's
a
like. I
watching
mean-
TikTok. So if you have a streak, let's say I have a streak with my daughter and on Snapchat, that's like, I mean, we at one point had like a couple years under our belt
Yeah, every day.
every day. And here's the thing.
And
You
who
get a little
cares?
warning. You get a little warning, a little hourglass that warns you that your streak is going to expire.
But it's
It does
meaningless.
something it's meaningless, but it does something to your brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't lose
It's
this
so
streak. It's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
odd. I
It
don't,
makes no sense.
but I know it's out there. I mean, I hear my kids talk about like, hey, I got this streak with them, and it's like some ridiculous number. I don't even know
Yeah.
what.
It has a grip on the brain somewhere. I'm not sure why.
That's why I compare social media, all these different things. If
Mhm.
I'm talking to the girls, Allie or Kate or whatever,
Mhm.
but I'll be like, it is like back in the day,
Mhm.
it was like sitting at the bar with video poker. Like it's that fast that the dopamine would hit you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Okay.
now we've imported it into our phones, and we've
Mhm.
basically rewired, or we're in the process of
Yeah.
rewiring our brains to
Mhm.
this constant dopamine hits.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's healthy. I think it's probably bad.
And games on your phone will do it too. These games that
Mhm.
are daily, they let you know like, oh, like you're gonna lose your, you've
See,
played.
I don't play
you've
any
played-
games.
You've played 8 days in a row, and if you don't play today, you're gonna lose your streak. And you're like,
I play
I
no
can't lose
games
it.
ever
I
on
know.
my phone.
really, you don't play
Never.
Wordle or Connections
Never.
or, yeah.
I have on occasion,
Mhm.
I'll pick up a game, and for 2 or 3 days I'll play it, and then I put it down because it's so
And you get
stupid. I
bored.
can't stand it.
Did you get sucked into Monopoly Go last year?
Never heard of it. No.
Okay.
I don't.
I played Monopoly Go for, I don't know, a couple months, and then I
But
was
you're
like,
talking to the guy who doesn't
this
play.
is stupid.
I don't play board games. I don't play games. I
don't play-
would sit down
You
if
play
somebody
cards,
asked me.
right?
I would play euchre. I like
play
euchre.
euchre, yeah.
But and like Daryl, Lauren's guy,
The
his old friend, who we
guitarist?
we got to explain someday why we voted for Trump.
Someday.
Someday, maybe next week we'll do that. I've been in a foul mood, so I just haven't, not a completely foul mood, but just yeah.
Life's happening
I'm
outside of
hitting
this.
my Scrooge time. I played
you bah
Scrooge in the
humbugging?
high school play.
Did you?
And everybody thought that it was perfect for me.
Do we have video of this?
I can't find. I think it was on VHS at one point we did, but it
Oh
was
my gosh.
beat with my parents. That's this problem again with parents dying and things, is that I don't.
Oh no.
a lot of that stuff just kind of, who knows where it goes.
Okay.
And I'm not
I'm
one
messaging Amber right now.
Amber, yeah, I don't know if she has it or she doesn't. Her son Easton, my nephew, just got the lead role. I'm not sure what grade he's in. I think he's maybe 7th grade.
That's
Can't
so
remember.
cool.
He's got the lead role in some play. He's real excited about it. So
you played Ebenezer Scrooge.
I did, but I don't play
Okay.
games by and large. I just don't. I will occasionally if I'm with a bunch of people and they want to play some stupid game, I'll play it. But by and large, that's not how I spend time. And then people, they get a little upset about it sometimes. They think that I'm a killjoy, but really, I just don't love games. So I'm not tempted by the phone games or anything else. I'm just not. It's whatever, and it's not a moral thing. I'm not like
right.
I don't think that I mean, I may be better than people, but not because of that. So
my superiority stems from other areas.
I may be wildly talented, but not because I don't play games.
Right.
So
yeah, I do. I play a couple, but I forget about them when I get
play
busy.
cribbage. I've never in my life played cribbage. That
fun.
Could be a fun game.
I love playing actual games, but I'll play on my phone. I'll play cribbage on my phone. It's kind of fun. But I get wrapped up in it if it just fits in my life, and then if life gets busy, I forget about it. Literally won't even think about it for a whole
week. Did you play Candy Crush back in the day?
Wasn't
that a big one?
It was big, and I played Candy Crush. I played it after Floyd died.
You did?
I did. It was kind of like my way to just escape my head.
You grieved through Candy Crush.
I did. I just would play hours. It's kind of sad, I know, but it was.
It's an odd thing.
It is an odd thing, but I heard that, what's funny is I had a friend who lost her dad around the same time, and her mom was playing hours of Candy Crush. I'm like, relatable.
Must be something to it, right?
Yep. It just distracts your brain from the sadness.
I guess maybe that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not. I don't. It's the same thing in me that I don't play games that has no. I have zero interest even in gambling of almost any sort. I don't have any. It holds no fascination for me. It's not.
You mean like a casino?
Anything, casinos,
okay,
sports betting, anything. Okay. I would sit down in a cheap, poker, whatever, and if people were like, "Hey, we're gonna have a poker night. We're not spending much money, or whatever."
Like with nickels or whatever. Like you'd have fun doing
whatever.
That?
Yeah. I would sit down and while away the hours drinking and smoking and playing some poker. But I wouldn't care. I would be just as happy not to play the poker and while away the hours with conversation. But so many people struggle with conversation. Well, maybe that's not true. Maybe they feel like sitting around for 2 hours with me is the equivalent of a podcast. I don't know. I don't know. But
Todd, what's this microphone? Don't worry about it.
It's not important. Don't you worry.
Adjust that volume a little bit. That's hilarious. Well, we should teach you cribbage, though. You and Nikki could play cribbage, and it's cards. You'd like it.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I do like euchre because euchre's like there's no chips. It's just like if you get 4 people who know what they're doing with playing euchre, it's like automatic, and it's just you roll around. And
I used to be like that.
But there aren't that many people, euchre's kind of a Michigan thing. And even in Michigan, my kids don't know how. I mean, they vaguely know, but I've never
you need to set up like a little tournament in your house or something. You have enough people to have multiple games going.
I know. Here's this will give you an idea of the bullet that was dodged.
Okay.
On November 5th by this country.
Okay. Oh boy.
I give you permission that if you are going to someone's house who doesn't know how to cook, bring your own dish.
Kamala's back.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what she's saying. She's on the sauce. Could you understand that or couldn't you?
I heard something. If you're going to someone's house, you bring a dish and everyone's laughing.
She's drunk. I mean, you can tell that she's drunk in this, whoever she's standing in front of, who knows? Let's see if the sound, that was only an 18-second video. Let's see if the sound is any better in this one.
Okay.
This is her again at the same place, some red pantsuit, dressing up like Santa.
My family, folks crying.
Oh, the video's horrible. You can't hardly hear it. It's worse on here. When I'm listening to it on my phone, it didn't sound that bad.
Yeah, you hear a lot of like
but yeah, it's
like the air around it.
Too much background. But yeah, she was drunk as hell.
She's just drunk. These people who are freaking out about Pete Hegseth, like having some
Are you
drinks.
gonna drink while you're on the job?
I'm like, they've never
Did
said
Winston
a word.
Churchill wage the entire World War II? Hammered off his ass from 10 a.m. on? Yeah, probably.
They've never said a word about the apparent drunkenness of Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris. Like, come on.
It's all ridiculous.
I know. It's like, obviously you're not that worried about alcohol.
Oh, you know what else happened this week?
Tell me.
Oh,
what I miss?
I got a good clip here. This is, do you recall this? When was this? It was back in maybe 06. Do you remember the Duke lacrosse players?
Oh, yes.
This is the chick, Crystal Magnum, the black chick who accused the Duke lacrosse players of
sexual assault.
Sexual assault. Let's hear what she has
Was
to
it
say.
3 of them? Wasn't it 3 players?
Yep.
Yeah. I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't.
Oh.
And that was wrong. And
took her 18 years to come to that.
Trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
So she tried to ruin these Duke students' lives, and the entire media tried to ruin their lives. And she just needed some validation,
It's so awful. Were they, those boys were not convicted, correct?
No, it never even went to trial. It was never even, I don't think so. I think it ended up kind of fading out, but it was a national media storm. You know who was on the right side of that right from the beginning?
Who?
El Rushbo. Rush Limbaugh. Oh, 100%. Saw through it the day they came out with it, that it was nothing but lies. And stuck with it in face of whatever blowback he received, but he was 100% right. Those guys, I mean, what should happen to a chick like that who tries to ruin people? What do you think? I mean, she tried to really, between her and the media, her maybe as a willing tool of the media.
Well, and I don't think they convinced her to do it. Sounds like she was,
looking for validation from someone other than God, I guess.
Well, it says here that the university paid approximately $20 million to each claimant.
I think the guys went back and sued the university because they were so
because they didn't support them or something.
Oh, it was beyond that. It was they were demonized. They were villainized. It wasn't they didn't support them. It was comparable to what happened to that remember that, and it went on longer, but that Nicholas Sandmann kid who was at the Supreme Court, and remember that he had a Make America Great Again hat on, and there was that old Indian guy yelling at him.
Yes.
And remember CNN
it was
ended up
drumming in his face.
Yeah, and CNN ended up paying him like $100 million because they were
they depicted
they defamed
him.
I mean, it was up and down the road. It was defamation.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, but the same kind of thing. It was that's why, and this was worse than this, but Rush always called them the drive-by media because that's what they would do. They would just do drive-by. They spray your house, try to destroy you, and then try to move on. Never having to prove anything, never having to admit anything, just a quick little destruction of an individual.
Sure.
For the sake of whatever narrative they happen to be wanting to promote at the time, which was that rich white Duke lacrosse players think so little and they hate black people and they rape this black girl. That was their whole thing.
I know they depicted them as these rich. Oh my gosh. And I'll tell you what, even just the reputation of lacrosse players in general were affected by that.
Was it?
Oh yeah. You ask people they'll tell you like, oh yeah, lacrosse players are like douchey. They think that about them because of that whole
I
thing. That
barely
it
know
like
what lacrosse is.
oh, it's a
Does he use a
crazy
stick or the little net thing?
a stick with a net
The stick
on
with
the
a
end.
net, not the
Yeah.
one that has like the little modified rounded hockey stick thing. What's that? Where they run around? Is that field hockey or something where they're like
Oh,
banging a ball around?
probably field hockey, yeah. But a lacrosse ball?
Water polo.
You
I
ever
can't
feel
keep
like
track.
a lacrosse? What? That's played in a pool. Very different. Very different. But
Apropos.
Todd, you're right though, Drive-By Media. Did you I just heard that Donald Trump is suing George Stephanopoulos.
I did hear that. Yeah, that I did know that. Whether or not
Yeah.
that
They're apparently arranging for depositions right now, and get this, they're requiring
yes, I did hear that
Yeah.
that they requiring George Stephanopoulos to sit down for 4 hours of depositions.
Well, that they're not requiring him to do it in person, but they're requiring Donald Trump to do it in person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That might have just changed.
What is that? Oh, I hope so. I hope it changed because I'm like, why can't if
Something just happened with that like 2 days ago. That a court came down and ordered Stephanopoulos that he had to do a 4 hour sit down for 4 hour deposition, but I wasn't aware of the in-person part of that story, so I didn't
that
look
he
into
could do it
close
remotely,
enough.
but they denied Trump's request
I
to do
did
it
not know that.
remotely. That's what I
Yeah.
heard.
I did not know that.
I heard through the grapevine in the Smith house that
I'm sure that you're right. I don't doubt that you're right. I hadn't necessarily heard that. You know
But
what
yeah,
I mean?
it had to do with him like using the word rape, calling Donald Trump a rapist. And that was like not that case. And so I think, oh my gosh, there's so many people. That kid Parker on TikTok who just worked his ass off day and night to help support Kamala Harris's run for the presidency. He referred to Donald Trump as a rapist daily.
Oh, they all kind of did. I mean,
Yeah,
I
they
thought
all
that was we were talking earlier about I have before we go, I have a new John Stossel thing. It's like 5 minutes long. It's really good. We gotta listen to
I love this
because
guy.
he's so
Okay.
good. Now that we found out he's still alive, it changes everything.
That's right. We're like, he's
Who
still
knew
alive.
John Stossel was still alive? He's still alive, kicking, still putting out amazing product, like new stuff.
Amazing content.
Who knew? You can be
He knows what he's
70 some
talking
years
about.
old and still a productive member of society.
Okay.
This is Steve Bannon talking about preemptive pardons. Preemptive blanket pardons.
Thank you. Do we have follow-up on this?
We'll talk about it, but I want you to hear what he has to say about these.
Can't wait to hear this.
Because what's going on, for people who don't know, is that Biden is trying to pardon anyone ever associated with the Democrat Party for periods of 10 and 15 years of whatever they may have done. We don't know.
And I demand satisfaction.
And this is Steve Bannon, who went to jail for 4 months for asserting executive privilege, which that never happens to any leftist, by the way. Well, it hasn't yet. We'll see what happens coming up. But let's hear what Steve Bannon has to say.
They're all going to be pardoned. Okay.
About these blanket pardons.
Every frickin' person associated with this criminal gang that are over there every night burning the midnight oil. Are they burning the midnight oil thinking, hey, how do we stay out of Syria? And how do we not make more obligations, have refugees everywhere? No. Are they working around the clock to figure out, hey, how do we make sure that app down there is not used and they can't get more tens of thousands of folks across this border that Trump and these guys are going to have to figure out? Are they thinking about how do we kind of calm things down, let Trump get in here on Ukraine? Are they doing anything on the debt and make sure, hey, Janet Yellen has a clean turnover with Besson and make sure that the way they've done this, like old Argentina, and do it short term and finance it short term?
No, they're not doing any of that.
And get the balance sheet of the country upside down, that it is a good changeover? No. What they're doing over there in the White House, and they say this, they're leaking it themselves. They're working on blanket preemptive pardons. Now, turn to your Constitution and look that one up. Oh, we can't find that.
It doesn't exist.
That's because it doesn't exist. Not even a concept anybody's ever heard of. A blanket preemptive pardon. They argue Rudy, I was on his show. He argues Nixon got this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I don't even think that was it. A blanket preemptive pardon for Milley and Fauci and Liz Cheney and Shifty Schiff. Those are categories. Those are just verticals. They're just the head person in a vertical to go down.
I agree with them. And in fact, I hope that they will try to do this. I hope that the Trump Justice Department goes after him, and I hope they take this to the Supreme Court and this gets knocked down, because it is absolute, just complete criminal
bullshit.
cabal BS. Yes.
Right.
100%.
What does Liz Cheney even need, like,
because
preemptive pardon for?
They absolutely lied in that J6. They destroyed evidence in that J6
Oh, because
hearing.
she was part of that whole committee.
She was the ringleader.
I couldn't figure
on the
out. I was
whole
like,
thing.
why is she on that list? Okay, I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's a bad situation.
I hardly paid attention to that because I just thought it was such bullshit and it was going to blow over, and it just didn't.
Except that it turned into destroying people's lives.
Yeah,
and I think they all ought to be thrown in prison.
I think
and
so
that's
too.
Actually on the gentle side of what I think. I really think they ought to be overpass decorations. But that reminds me, I said I was going to do a Christmas story about overpass decorations. I got to do that.
Oh.
An insurrection Christmas story.
That'll be fun.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it's a little jingly soundtrack in the background. Sounds good.
Yeah, these blanket pardons are BS. 100%. 100%.
I wonder how Democrats feel about these Democrats who are being quiet right now because they're just like, yeah, this is all pretty shady. I wonder what they think of these blanket pardons.
I don't. I know that Clinton had said it because they tried to compare it to him pardoning his brother or something.
Oh,
and he's like, no, he served time and there was penalties that were paid and this, that, and the other. We didn't. This wasn't just, oh, don't worry, whatever we want you to be, whatever might have happened, you're innocent.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's insane.
It's insane. I'm not sure how much Biden is behind any of this stuff. I think Pelosi's like, you better put my name on that damn list. I feel like people are coming to him and saying
it could well be. You could
or
be very right on that.
Jill's doing it.
Yeah.
Notice Jill's going to everything without him.
Did you see her looking adoringly at Trump at that Notre Dame? I actually watched
the reopening.
Yeah, I watched some of the clips. I found that I thought the music was amazing. Whoever they had like leading the symphony and stuff, and they were set up in Notre Dame, and then they had a few soloists and
beautiful.
And it was gorgeous. That whole that part of it anyway. I just saw clips of the different songs. I didn't actually see them like waving their smoke and worshiping the Virgin. But one assumes they did. That's kind of part of the show.
It is part of the Notre Dame.
It's a big part of the show. It looked gorgeous in there, though. I have to tell you that from just what I saw, I didn't think, I wasn't sure that there were still artisans and craftsmen that could restore things like we're done in it.
You and I have talked about this.
I mean, whatever they did, I'm not standing there looking,
right.
But from TV and everything, they look just beautiful.
They had to have flown in, brought in anyone in the world who had any.
Maybe they're still over there in the old world, kind of, Europe, whatever. I don't know. I have a hard time imagining we could do that over here.
Maybe
I just can't
sons
fathom
of sons
it.
of sons,
I don't know.
Being taught it. I hope so.
But I'll say this: they did a hell of a job. It was the restoration. What I saw, the pictures, everything looked beautiful. Like the Pope's ready to open some secret doors. Let some demons out, maybe. I don't know.
No, the Pope's like, hey, do we have one of these holy doors?
Now's the time.
Did the restoration include a holy door in the Notre Dame?
I don't know. I really
don't.
But
crazy.
I did think that was good. Let's hear. You want to go through this Stossel thing, and we'll kind of end the show on because he's real good, and it's it's like 5 minutes. We may have to pause in between whatever.
Okay.
But it's like, remember we did the slavery one.
Yes.
And that was good. That was when we first realized John Stossel was still alive.
Still alive and brilliant.
He's
sharp as he's ever been.
Poor John Stossel.
Sorry, John. We love you.
10 senators from both parties visibly happy to announce agreement.
3 years ago, Republicans and Democrats
That's John
grabbed your
Stossel.
money, promising
alive and kicking.
Thousands of miles of fiber optic cable.
Cable that would provide high-speed internet to all of America.
$65 billion broadband push.
3 years later, no one's been connected.
Magic.
Not a single project is underway.
What?
Why? Because governments aren't good at building anything. As Milton Friedman put it.
Very few people spend other people's money as carefully as they spend their own.
Oh, God, that's so good.
Spending
Milton
other
Friedman.
people's money wasted it. Private companies laid miles of cable.
Did everybody pick that up? Very few people are as good, are as careful about spending other people's money as they are their own. Just the most basic common sense.
Yeah.
I love Milton Friedman. You had to get a steady dose of Milton Friedman at Hillsdale.
I was going to say, is he an economist?
Yes. He's
Yeah,
the original kind of creator. He was a, big capitalist back in the 70s and 80s.
Got it. Yeah. His name was all over there. I didn't study economics at Hillsdale, but it kind of,
You can't get away from it.
Yeah. I heard his name.
It's like
and
William
stuff
F.
for
Buckley Jr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, government officials obsessed about giving broadband to the right people.
Boys,
Imagine.
girls, people of color, people living in rural America.
Aging individuals, prisoners, LGBTQ persons. Any company that wants funds to build broadband has to hire certain people.
You have to hire these certain people based on their color, based on their sex, and you have to use unions.
Matt Cole's investment company researched the government's funding and made this ad.
What am I looking at here? Oh, there's nothing more important than making sure you're representing
It's a
all
guy
the
with
right
stickers
causes.
all
You have
over.
all these companies that could actually do this, and they say, this is unimplementable with the restrictions, so they just walk away.
Eventually, government will probably succeed at installing some broadband. But by then, this hard-to-install cable may be totally unnecessary because of satellite internet like Starlink. Starlink already exists and costs much less.
They could do it literally today. You could have devices in these people's homes within the next couple months, and they could have high-speed internet access.
That would make entirely too much sense.
Right. That would just be way too efficient for the U.S. government.
It'd be helping Elon Musk. We're not going to do that.
No, because he's evil. As soon as he
Yeah.
started supporting Trump, he became an evil man.
He's so right.
Oh,
Everything about this
So funny.
is just dead
So
on.
why didn't administration officials do that? They said Starlink failed to demonstrate it had the ability. Then, once it became clear that Starlink obviously did, the administration said it won't use Starlink because it's a monopoly.
So first, they're not functional. Now they have a monopoly. The reality is that they didn't want that to be the solution.
They don't want to give money to Elon Musk.
Take over, Elon. Just take
But now Musk has a friend in government, so things may change.
Can we get
That's
Starlink?
not a good way to spend your money. Politicians doling it out to their friends. In fact, politicians have a bad track record when they decide what to build. They pumped billions into high-speed rail. 15 years later, we still don't have it. They lost $500 million on Solyndra, almost $1 billion trying
That was
to create
Obama.
synthetic fuels. More recently, a Biden meatpacking scheme starved 1 million chickens. And although Biden promised government would build
500,000 charging stations.
2 years later, how many have they built for $7
Isn't it like
billion?
6?
Seven.
And
again, government's
$1 billion
failure at
apiece.
building things, it's not just a Democrat thing. Republicans joined Democrats in grabbing your money to build computer chip factories.
He's 100%
We
right
will
about
enable
that.
advanced semiconductor manufacturing to make a comeback here in America.
Democrats bragged about adding strings.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The CHIPS Act contains 19 sections aimed at helping minority groups.
You already have a talent problem. Now you're looking at only being able to recruit from a very small minority of individuals. Then you have to do climate pledges. Then you have to hire from unions.
But diversity is good. And there has been horrible discrimination in this country.
That doesn't mean that you should shift the pendulum back to hire someone because of their race or their skin color if they're a diverse candidate.
Despite the billions
sounds
you
too
spent, most chips are still made in
level-headed.
Taiwan. And even when we pay their chip makers, they struggle to build in America.
A major Taiwanese chip manufacturing plant will be delayed again.
If our government wants chips made in America, they should get out of the way. Micromanaging microchips just slows things down. Even if they get what they promise, doing the numbers, $53 billion and 115,000 promised jobs. That's almost half $500,000 per job.
$500,000 a job. That's what they pay.
So Todd, you're looking at a video of this while you listen, right?
Yeah, if I can stop coughing. Where's my cough button?
Sorry, I know. Where's your cough button? While you are coughing, I'm gonna say there's a fiber optic movement in our area called something IQ, whatever, and it's black and yellow logo, something IQ.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to know if you're seeing that on any of your video stuff because I heard from people like, oh, that's like the government subsidized or government funded internet,
I'm not watching
whatever.
close enough.
Okay. It's pretty bold and it's like big block IQ gold and black.
Okay.
But the funny thing is I have a friend who was like, I don't want to sign up for that because it's like it's the government, they might be listening or whatever.
They might.
I'm like, honey.
They're listening either way.
I know. I thought it was the funniest
Don't you
thing.
worry.
I was like, oh, you think they're not already? I don't think it matters what internet provider you have.
Expect nothing else from government inefficiency, right?
With Republicans in charge, some think things will be better. But as I said, the problem isn't just Democrats, it's government.
He is right.
Republican politicians also harm people when they try to improve on the free market.
Yeah.
Trump's steel tariffs destroyed American jobs because they raised the price of steel. Our government should just stop subsidizing politically connected businesses. And maybe Elon Musk will convince Trump to do that. He's actually tweeted that all subsidies should end, including his own. But I won't hold my breath.
We spent $2.5 trillion. We got everybody pay increases.
Once politicians are in power, they always want to do more with your money.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, they always want more money. That's for sure.
And he's not wrong,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It isn't just, it's worse with Democrats, but it's not just a Democrat problem.
No, it's a DC problem.
It's a government problem.
It's a government problem.
They're just wildly inefficient.
Yeah.
I mean, at everything they try to do.
Right. And they're not held accountable. They can fail audits year after year and there are no consequences. They just ask for more money. It's wild.
That's my hope is that
wild.
That Trump's basic kind of capitalistic instinct will cause him to do I know he'll do less harm, but on balance to kick more things out of government than try to improve it. You know what I mean? So that's my hope. We'll see whether I would say that on balance, that was his first term.
Yeah.
He had pretty good instincts about stuff and he wasn't perfect and he did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nobody's perfect. So he's got Elon Musk. He's got a lot of people helping him. And I'm encouraged that there's a decent shot that it could be, we could move the pendulum a little bit.
Sure.
Is the hope, I think.
But I think that long term, like we have an opportunity to make some long-term changes that will ensure election integrity and, things like that.
If they just do that, that'll be seismic.
Yes.
If they just secure
We've
elections,
got to do that.
Secure the border,
and
cut down regulations and go after the deep state. I mean, you're talking, you won't recognize this country, I don't think, in 4 years.
In a really great way.
Yeah. I
was going to say, those words are very scary to some.
Oh, where'd you go, Carrie?
Hold on.
Oh, now you're back. You're here.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were like talking and there was nothing coming through. Technical difficulties are what we call those in the business.
I just was plugging in and I accidentally bumped something off. Anyway, sorry.
You're good now.
Thank you. So I just think that sounds so scary to people, but it's like we've got it. Every American should want honesty and efficiency in our government.
Transparency, honesty,
Yep.
accountability.
Yeah. That's not a conservative concept. That's a human decency concept,
For too long, the American people took their eye off the ball of their government.
Mm-hmm.
They just you got too big, and it was I think it was incomprehensible. I think to some extent it still is, and I think what you're going to see with this Doge department, Musk and Vivek Department of Government Efficiency, I think you're going to see them start to peel away the layers of the onion to make it comprehensible how horrific it all is.
Yeah.
And as they do that, people are going to be like, this is crazy. What is going on here?
Right.
How did we let it get this bad? And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. It's a good recognition. It's good for somebody to take a look in the mirror after they've let their garage just go to hell for 10 years at a time and be like, okay, we have to tackle it. We've got to clean it up. We got to do whatever. You know what I mean? That's the first step. Right? It's like the 12 steps. You got to admit you got a problem, folks.
You have to admit that your garage is full of crap.
Exactly.
It's a great analogy. The garage is such a great analogy.
And it gets to be so incomprehensible people can't even imagine tackling it. You know what I mean? And that's just a little thing in our personal lives. But like things get so out of control they can't even imagine. And I think if you took that times a million, that's the federal government to a lot of people. They just, how are you supposed to even have any comprehension or the beginning of a glimpse of what the hell is going on in that place?
Right. Well, especially when we don't trust what we're being told.
Right.
Well,
when you don't have a functional press.
Right.
And we haven't had for a long time a functional press, because that's one of the main legs that really holds the government accountable, is a functional press. And we haven't had that for decades. We got it more. We have it far more now than we've had in, I mean, that was the big thing. Remember when Rush came out in '88, everybody's like, oh my God, this guy's saying what I think. Like they had they'd never heard this kind of thing in the media.
I don't hear anything like this on TV.
Right. And they skyrockets, and then Fox News comes along, and then all these talk radio people, and you really get this resurgence of a conservative.
Tom Brokaw doesn't tell me this stuff.
Right.
Do you remember Tom Brokaw?
Oh God. Yes. I remember Tom.
Tom Brokaw. That's what we called him. Is that did everyone call him that, or did we just
I didn't, but I never thought about him very much.
Steve called him Tom Brokaw.
He was probably right. 100%. To be fair, he's in a little different era than I am.
Well, we watched all that. That was like a regular thing for the longest time. We watched. I think that was.
Would Steve be a boomer? Or is he Gen X?
He is a boomer.
He's a boomer.
He's right at the end of the boomer.
Boomer.
Hey, do the name of the woman who you played earlier, the one who's had an awakening?
Yeah.
Something.
Anna Kasparian or something.
Okay.
I was looking for it.
I find it really smart, fascinating, and smart and surprising and refreshing that her strategy to kind of hear from the people was to listen to these these city council meetings. I'm like, that's really interesting. I wonder where that came from.
I don't know, but I mean, she's
I wonder
right.
if she saw a video on something like X and was like, oh, and started watching, because people would video stuff going on in those city council meetings in Chicago. Some
Right.
of those are viral. So I just
It was
found that really
Anna,
interesting.
ANA.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And it's Kasparian.
Okay.
It's KASPARIAN.
Okay.
And I do know that she was on did I say the New Turks? I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Turks or
Maybe
New
she
Turks.
still
What
is
that?
for Young Turks. That's what it is. Why did I say the New Turks?
I don't know. I've never heard of either of those.
It's the Young Turks. And it's got some other guy on it that's kind of a quasi
American commentator. I'm going to look at her face.
Yeah. She's younger. You might not recognize her.
I do not know her. I've never seen her.
Okay.
I've never
I
heard
knew
of the
about her. I was kind of
shows.
aware of her that she was out there.
That's interesting.
So,
Really interesting. Good for her.
yeah.
Good for her. If people like that can start to open their eyes. Oh, so it reminds me so much of 1984. You're talking about how we don't have a functioning press.
Yeah.
It's one of the things in 1984. It's one of the
George Orwell's.
Yeah, it's one of the most powerful things is they control
The
the
media.
news, the media.
Like
100%.
the Soviets with Pravda.
Oh, what is it?
Pravda was what it was called
Okay.
back in the day. It was the Soviet kind of mouthpiece press,
Gotcha. And how old is that?
Well, that was how old's what?
How old is the concept of Pravda?
I don't know. Back in the 60s,
Soviets. Okay.
50s, 60s.
See, George Orwell was writing very often about Russia.
Yeah. When did he write 1984? Do you know?
1948.
Was it?
Yep.
Right after Israel was
think he
reconstituted
probably-
as a nation.
Yeah, I think he probably finished it in 47, but it got published in 48. He flipped 48 to 84 because it sounded so far off into the future.
Okay. Yeah. I never read that. I told you that. I haven't
I know,
ever read
it's
that
so
book.
good.
I read Animal Farm, but I have not read 84. I do need to
But
do that one of
in
these
1984,
days.
he works for the newspaper. He
Oh, he
works for
does?
yeah, he does. So there's like a machine, kind of like a
Okay.
fax machine, kind of a telegraph sort of thing, printing out headlines. And anything that he reads that disagrees with what they're telling everybody, he throws into what's called the memory hole. And it's like incinerated.
And, yeah, it gets just
But you see him like, you're reading and he's struggling with it because he's reading stuff and it's kind of like, that isn't, why aren't they telling everybody that? But he's
seems
not
like there
allowed.
could be a little bit of truth there.
He's not allowed to think that. But yeah, it's interesting, right? It's
It's
scary.
where we live,
It's
100%.
where-
Although
I
it's getting
just-
better with X and everything else, there has
I
been an awakening.
think it is.
We saw, I think maybe it hit peak, whatever you want to call that, peak
Yeah.
kind of state-controlled media in the U.S. around COVID, I would think.
Yes.
It was and that's what I think. I to circle back,
Yeah.
Jen Psaki, to circle all the way back to the beginning of the program. We were talking
Yes.
about these UFOs and UAPs and these drones, right?
UAPs. Okay.
Where nobody knows what they are, whatever.
Right.
Bongino thinks he knows.
Holograms.
Everybody's got
SUV sized
opinions.
drones. Okay.
I will tell you this. I think they're a distraction.
Yep.
100% first and foremost. And whatever the goal is, look for it to be a government power grab of some sort.
Okay.
Whatever kinds of fear and emotions they can whip up in people using these things, look for there to be government power grabs, just like there was in COVID, just like there was with 9/11 and the Patriot Act. Well,
Right.
not just the Patriot Act, all across the board.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons I'm so convinced that 9/11 was an inside job by the government, because to me, I don't see anybody that benefited like the government did.
True.
And I feel like that's the best. Like that. You want to trace it back and just make it real big picture? Who benefited? The government, the surveillance state. Okay.
100%.
And my expectation is that whatever's going on with these lights in the skies, it's primarily to distract and primarily to gain some form of control, some form of, maybe they could terrorize people.
Yeah.
Maybe they could, whatever they can do to do something to grab some kind of power that they don't already have. That's what that, and at that point, then I think, okay, we're dealing not with, we aren't even dealing necessarily with a spiritual world kind of thing. We're dealing with government deep state something that they are trying to use to their advantage. Again, I don't see them doing anything except being lights and sounds. But in this world, that's enough. Look at Snapchat. You get pictures of somebody's shoulder, and that's enough to distract you. Just keep that going for 40,000 days.
The drones are like, we've got to fly over this retention pond. We got to keep the streak going.
Exactly.
I don't understand though, Todd. What are they doing in these specific locations?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know the answer.
It's really weird. Anyway.
Don't know. I tell people, enjoy the light show. and realize it's
Do you have any over
meaningless.
Michigan?
We haven't had many. No.
Michigan's
That-
blue state, supposedly.
that I know of. They had one over in Chicago, and the guy was like shining like a laser.
Oh, nice.
Not like a military laser, just
No.
like a laser, whatever.
They do. They're powerful.
And the drone didn't like it.
And left.
Left.
I'll tell you what.
Or
That's
went
what we're gonna
dark
do.
or whatever.
We have cats. We've got lasers here. We're gonna shine lasers if any drones fly over.
Why do
us.
cats? I mean, I got cats, and I don't have any lasers. Why are cats and lasers?
Oh, because so you can only do it for a minute because it's mean.
It messes
But-
them up, right? Because
No,
they
you-
can't get it.
Yeah, you play on the floor. You don't shine it at them, but
But
on
they
the
can't
floor,
actually
they
get it.
chase it. They can't get it. I know. That's why we don't do it much. We've just done it a couple times, but we have lasers. I also
Well,
have lasers
I-
because I have sons. I have lasers.
I have to tell you that I think that's just about the most perfect illustration of whoever's manning these drones or
Yeah.
in charge. That's what they're trying to do. Is we're the cats, those are the lasers.
There you go. That's it. We're all like, look at that. What's that?
That's why I say holograms, because they talk about how they'll fly like helicopters or whatever up on them, and as soon as they get there, they'll disappear. And I don't think there's anything to.
Oh, I
these
haven't
things.
heard that. That's interesting.
I don't think that I mean, we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. We'll see what they try to accomplish with them.
So one thing you've got to go look up if you haven't seen it. There's a guy in New Jersey, some representative in New Jersey who went to a meeting.
I saw that. I have
Did you
that
see
clip
him?
actually. Want me to play it quick?
You should close with that. I think it's brilliant.
Hold on. I'm nearly certain I have that clip.
He's probably getting in trouble for it, and I will support him.
You were right. It was a great clip. I don't remember. Oh, it seems like that was a couple days ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good clip. We're getting long here, but this is a short
This
one
is
by.
so worth it.
This is a short one by RFK about the Amish and
Oh.
autism rates.
Oh.
Interesting.
There was a researcher, a writer named Dan Olmsted, and he was very curious about unvaccinated populations, and the Amish are one of those populations. So he went and he did a study of the Amish in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and there should have been, I think, about, if it was following the national trends, there should have been about 2,000 autism cases, and they were able to find 3, and all of them were children who had been adopted by the Amish after receiving their
How about that?
vaccines.
Holy crap.
Of the Amish in general, they could not find any.
Holy crap.
And this is true in other places around the world.
He's a kook, though. He's crazy. Don't listen to this guy.
He
I do not
and the
believe that
Amish are
autism
crazy.
is just caused by vaccines. I think there's very strong evidence that it is one of the major causative factors. But all of these diseases are linked. They all operate along the same biological pathways. And they're caused by stress to our mitochondria. And we're stressing the mitochondria through many, many vectors. Through the air we breathe, mainly through the foods we eat, but also some of the medications that our kids taking are contributed to it. There was a
Isn't that wild?
Wow, that is wild. Yeah, he's a kook, and the Amish are kooks.
Right. They don't know anything.
Wow.
They're just not autistic. That much we know.
That's
Isn't that
wild.
crazy?
That's really crazy.
That the only 3 that they
So-
found, and they should have found 2,000. The only 3 they found weren't even like
weren't raised
indigenous,
there.
I guess, to the.
They weren't born.
Yeah.
They weren't. So did I hear him say that the 3 who were adopted had received vaccinations?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Prior to them coming in.
That sucks.
So everything we've been told
Lord, watch
forever
over our
about
kids, man.
vaccinations and everything else has all been a lie.
Wow.
Which, listen, they lie all the time. I don't think anything about that should be
know,
that big of a
just-
surprise.
Gosh.
Here it is.
Okay.
Hold on. Give me 1 second, because you know what this did is it didn't, once in a while I send these clips to myself I do it on a text thread.
Yeah.
And then
Then
I
you
pull
can
up
pull it
my
up there
message and I can
on the
watch
cloud.
everything, but sometimes they don't show up. But
Did you find it?
Well, they don't. There'll be like something that'll be weird between my laptop and my phone,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I found it. Hold on, this
Oh,
guy.
cool. So
This
good.
this is it's New Jersey State Rep Brian Bergen, and he walked out of the Homeland Security briefing on the drone situation in New Jersey, just fed up and pissed off. That's what you're talking about, right?
Brian Bergen. Hey, Brian, we
This
love
is
you.
this is the one though. This is what you wanted.
Absolutely.
All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay?
This guy was an
ridiculous. There were
Apache
no answers.
helicopter pilot in the
Every
Army.
question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste.
It's
of 5
pouring
hours
rain,
of my
too.
entire life.
So they're interviewing under an umbrella.
No idea.
You can hear
Why
the
would
rain.
you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because he didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
This guy is good.
Do they have any idea of where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know. But they don't.
I'm so glad you reminded me of this.
Lack of effort.
I forgot about it
my
because it
opinion.
disappeared
I'm trying
on
to
my
figure this
thread.
out. This is not about ability. We have the technology. We have the people. We have the training. We have the resources. We have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean, they
Why?
should. I don't know.
They
I don't
don't
know.
want.
They should be saying,
We
you know what
have
you should have done
everything.
today with productive use of our time. If they didn't know anything, come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead, it was just excuse after excuse, and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is.
They got no
don't know where it come
answers.
from. They don't know nothing.
Just calm down out there.
Today.
Yeah, we don't know what it is, but
actually
it's
pretty calm.
fine.
I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx, trying to figure out. But instead, I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
Wow.
So good.
I love it.
I'm so glad you reminded me of that.
I'm glad you had it. Thank you for finding it. Brian Bergen.
He just calls them out 100%.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
uninhibited rant about
it's a
what's going
clown
on there.
show what they're trying.
Totally crazy. So, yeah.
So
that's
listen,
good.
guys, just don't listen. I don't know why they're lying. They're
Mhm.
lying badly, and I don't know what these things are, but they're distractions.
Yep.
Just take them for what they are. If you want to enjoy the show, if you want to play the X-Files game, watch an X and everything else, that's all fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you keep in mind that all of this is meaningless until they start to try to have martial law, who knows, whatever kind of power grabs they're going.
Right.
But you got to be clear-headed. We aren't getting invaded by aliens. Okay? I promise you that.
We might
Whatever
be being
they
invaded
are,
by China.
they're not aliens. Well, not those kinds of, not ET aliens.
Yeah.
They might be, they might be from China or Iran.
They
My
could
guess
be.
is that they're our own, or that I don't necessarily mean that they're the military when I say that. I think that they're domestically controlled. That's what I'll say.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
But you
saying?
don't think but you don't think they're military?
They may
I've
be
heard they are.
military,
They're
they
like
may not be.
huge. They're like, they said they're like SUV sized.
Yeah.
These are
That
like
doesn't
not.
seem that big to me.
Well, I mean, if you see a drone,
I know the little
flying over a
hobby
football
drones.
game, yeah, it's like it's not like those.
And you know what's weird
Hmm.
is I've got multiple clips. We're not going to go through them, but of guys who will send up. They'll fully charge and get their like hobby drone, which is maybe 3 foot, whatever.
Mhm.
It's got 4 propellers to send up to go after these things,
Mhm.
and they get like 3 feet off the table and the batteries are dead. Like they can't fly them. They can't
anywhere near them.
anywhere near them.
That's
Their batteries are
interesting.
zapped. Isn't that weird?
That's really weird.
And if they do let them get up there, as soon as they get anywhere near it, their batteries die and their drones crash. Or their little hobby drones, I mean.
That's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
ability.
Interesting. Who knows what's going on?
Who knows?
All I know is January 20th cannot get here fast enough.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
And I think we should all be like making sure all of our stuff is like charged up. Have extra batteries.
Yeah, I think who knows what's going to happen.
If they can drain battery power out of electronics that quickly, that's something to think about how that would impact our lives.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to play your phone games.
I know.
You wouldn't be able to get on Snapchat.
I know I'd lose streaks. I'd have to face like real feelings. Oh no.
Middle schoolers aren't there. They're not getting any dick pics from their teachers. Like, this is a crisis. What's going on?
Our culture would just collapse.
I mean, these poor middle schoolers might just like pick up a book, like Lord of the Rings or something, and read it. We can't have that. Whatever else is going on. Charge your stuff. All right, guys. We got to get out of here. It's been too long.
We do. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. This is going to release next week, and then the week after is Christmas. I guess we got to decide if we're going to do it or not do it. We haven't decided yet.
I know. We don't know. We got to figure out something.
We'll figure it out, and
Soon.
We'll get back with you guys. So, and there's going to be more stuff coming out too. I'm working on something right now.
Yay.
That's even a little bit of a surprise for Carrie. She doesn't even know.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm so excited.
All right, guys. Find us on the socials at Todd's World or Todd's World 2023. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm trying to put the videos on X. Last couple of weeks have been a little eventful for me, so I got to get back, probably catch up on some of them.
Yeah, do, and share with your friends, please.
Yeah, get it out there. Check us out on Substack. The writing's out there. My writing anyway. One of these days, maybe Carrie will bless us with something that she writes.
I know. I'm gonna.
Like a haiku.
I'm working
on it.
It's
only 3 lines. My God. Do a haiku about Bill and his cigar.
Okay. I'm going to tag Todd's World, and I'm going to compose it today.
All right. Thanks for joining me, Carrie.
Thanks
enjoy all your Christmas stuff. Everybody out there, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the light show in the sky, but don't let it get you down. Don't let it worry you. Just come back in and pay attention to the lights on the Christmas tree, and
absolutely
good stuff. And then come back for Beers with Jesus tomorrow, because we're doing the Christmas story.
We are.
Although tomorrow, see, this is what we got to decide, Carrie, because tomorrow for Beers with Jesus, we've got the birth of John, and then we've got one more to where we'd get into the whole Christmas story.
We have to figure it out.
We got to decide what we're going to do. We won't leave you guys hanging.
We won't.
We'll get it sorted on this end. Come back to Todd's World. And
we'll get it sorted before I drink too much eggnog.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
We will catch you next week, probably. At least with one show, I imagine. We'll get it out. All right.
That's cool.
See you guys.